Welcome back to this episode, Cave of Maniacs. I am Professor Nasty.
Wonderful weather we're having.
And today, we have got an amazing topic with you. Probably going to have some spoilers in it. So here's your spoiler alert. We are going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I apologize. There's no interviews. I forgot to hit record.
It's true. We recorded people that came to the movie to watch the movie with us.
No, we just pointed a camera at them and said it was recording.
Yeah, so sorry you guys if you thought you were going to see yourself. You ain't. And before we jump into this episode, let's take a minute and thank our sponsor, RPGhiring.com. So here we are well under the way of Phase 5, and we have just got the biggest summer release from Marvel, their pre-summer release, whatever you want to call it, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We're going to tell you a deep dive into what we thought about this movie, but before we do that, let's get the logistical stuff out of the way here, and let's talk about if it is doing well or not. And I would say that it is doing well enough. At the box office right now, it opened with 118 million. That's way better than what Ant-Man and Wasp did. It's not as good as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did, their opening weekend, but globally, they are at 282 million. So they are over what they said was their budget for the movie. Their budget was $250 million, and realistically, they need to be closer to $500 million to be to where they're actually making money. But they are above what their budget was, which is $282 million. And so I believe they're on their track to be doing really well. The Guardians of the Galaxy 2 hit more like $787 million. Globally before it was all said and done with at the box office. So we're hoping that this is, more people are going to go out and see it this coming up weekend. So if your guys are watching this episode this Saturday and you don't have nothing to do this evening, go watch Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's one of the few Marvel movies that you're probably actually going to hear me suggest to go see this year. So yeah, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Gabe, do you know much about the High Evolutionary in the comic books?
Not at all.
Not at all.
That's something I did not actually look into, no.
I didn't know a whole lot either. Like, I knew the basics of the background, but that's something that I didn't really read into. A lot of people out there are griping because the High Evolutionary was not like the comic book High Evolutionary. Now let's take this. I'm 36 years old, and even though I am familiar with a lot of things that go on in the Marvel movies with the characters that they've chose to use, I was not very well familiar with the High Evolutionary. I was more well versed with Adam Warlock than I was with the High Evolutionary. What did you think about that character? Just seeing it in the movie and not knowing nothing about it.
Yeah, he's all right. It's just another big bad that had to be moved out of the way. It wasn't bad. He was okay.
He's still alive though, right?
I mean,
maybe.
Do
you think that killed him?
No.
Okay, so the High Evolutionary, in my opinion, was probably the best Marvel villain that we have seen since Thanos came off the screen. And I know that Wanda was supposed to be this, and she is, if you go by how she actually is, she is a world-ending threat, Wanda is. But the High Evolutionary was a mean, cold-hearted, like the spoilers are coming, guys, so here it is. But the way that, they introduced him with the animal abuse, that's the best way to word it, with how he treated these creatures or whatever. Like, he is a mean guy. Like, I almost feel like Thanos was a nicer person.
They weren't perfect.
Explain that. What do you mean by... So, guys, he's trying to
create the perfect race that is perfect and can know everything all at once, and he claims that there was no God, so he stepped in, which is his entire moral compass. So if something's not perfect, it must be removed.
So, guys, the High Evolutionary, the baddie in the movie, but he is who is responsible with Rocket Raccoon's being Rocket Raccoon. He's the mastermind behind what happened to Rocket. So if you guys have been wondering, watching this whole time and trying to figure out, why is Rocket the way he is, this is the movie. It's basically Rocket's origin story. I mean, it could have been, a origin story for Rocket and not a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 movie, and it would have been just as cool.
But if they called it like the Rocket movie, it also wouldn't make sense. It has to be Guardians.
Right. So let's talk about Rocket the Raccoon. He carried some significant weight in this movie. It's fair to say that a lot of this centered around him and his origin story, and it was heart-wrenching, was it not? So how do you feel about Star-Lord's role in this movie? He dropped the MCU's first F-bomb.
Yeah. I loved it. It was great. Not as great as Guardians 1, of course, but it worked, and I'm happy with it. Very sad note. I was kind of hoping they'd all die, so just kind of end that so that Marvel doesn't ruin more. That was the most negative thing that I have.
Gabe's the only person that I know that is like, I would rather them just die than have a happy ending, for them to be brought back later, for them to just ruin the characters that had already been there in existence. I'd rather them just die.
Yeah. Just end it so that they are not brought to just make people hate them.
We saw characters graduate, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Gamora's brought back from the past. Gamora, her character was developed significantly in this movie, from where she starts at the beginning of the movie to how she is at the ending of the movie. There was some amazing special effects. The CGI was not lacking like they were in some of the previous Marvel movies that were supposed to be major. Let's talk about Adam Warlock and how he was introduced. How did you feel about how Adam Warlock? Do you feel like
he should have killed Thanos?
You feel like Adam
should have killed Thanos?
Adam Warlock should have.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So
he should have been there for Endgame and killed Thanos. That's it.
Do you think that they introduced him well?
He just appears and then does nothing but scream and act like a child the whole movie. He is.
He is.
I understand that, and that's fine. But they're not even like, this is Adam.
It was very interesting to me the way he was introduced. I was like, oh, okay, well, there's Adam Warlock.
But he is great for comedic humor. Now, he does have a home where he can actually learn and become something better, and he can become Adam.
But you know what they didn't mention at all?
I don't.
Is like how he's getting a bunch of these powers that he has.
Oh, it was part of his capsule.
Yeah. But what is that on his forehead right there?
It's originally supposed to be like an Infinity Stone.
Yeah,
it is. Not.
It is one of the Infinity Stones.
I don't think it is now, because they got rid of those. So like,
or did they?
In the original in the comics, yeah.
Or
but
did they?
I don't think they did in this one.
Well, I'm saying they're going to have to say something about it being an Infinity Stone, or else why even put it on him in the first place and let it be visible?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's a clear.
I noticed it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a clear cut in the comic book. That's how he gets his. He gets the Soul Stone. So he's the Avatar of life, where Thanos is the Avatar of death. We talked about this. We talked about the origin story of Adam Warlock. We did an episode on it. If you guys want to go back and look at it, me and Brandon did that. We had the first appearance comic book, the two first appearance comic books, because it's technically he has a lot of characters like that, but you could say either one of those is his first appearance in the comic books. But he was in a cocoon, and he was given the Soul Stone by the High Evolutionary. That's who came to him in the cocoon and hooked him up. We only got
which they did say that he was made by the High Evolutionary in the cocoon and everything. That was clarified. It was also clarified that he left early from the cocoon. So they should have had Guardians 3 pre-Infinity War, and then also had Adam appear in Guardians 3 as what he was, have the High Evolutionary. It would have been great. It would have been a great lead-in to a stronger villain, because you have this diabolical person who has lived their whole life in madness, but they feel as though they are not a madman. And that leads perfectly into a parallel of Thanos, where he is a madman but does not believe himself to be that. So it would perfectly lead in and parallel with him. So it should have been before. And then you could have actually had Adam come in. He has the Soul Stone, and he's also the one that just there's no sacrifice there for Gamora and crap. There's none of that weird writing that was essentially useless, other than just to make Star-Lord depressed. It's just like, why? What was the point in undoing all that? Like, drama? We had enough of that.
There was drama.
There was more than enough of that.
There was always drama.
Like, you didn't even need that much. They're just overflowing, and it's just ridiculous.
And while he was introduced, we've only been introduced to this much of what he is capable of.
Absolutely.
So that's something to look forward to, guys. If you watched the movie so far, I guess you probably are not even sticking around up to this part if you have not watched the movie. So you guys that have watched the movie, hopefully you got to stick around and you got to watch the post-credit scene. So what you'll see is you'll essentially see the new Guardians. Mm-hmm. So we've got Cosmo, we've got Rocket,
yep,
we've got Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to get to hang out, and he's going to get to learn, and he's going to get to be part of the Guardians. And I'm guessing since Drax is no longer going to be a part of the Guardians, and Star-Lord is no longer going to be part of the Guardians, and a lot of these OG characters are essentially leaving, they had to have some muscle. So in comes Adam Warlock. Yep. And guys, we should know by now, okay, that these movies are not going to be 100% comic book accurate, because they have not been up to this point. Now, what is it that wasn't accurate? That's if we're going to be upset about something that because it's not like the comic book was, what is it exactly that we are upset about? Why is it?
It's high treason and heresy.
Well, in some aspects it is.
Yeah.
In some aspects it is. But for a character that has never really been in the forefront of people's minds when they think of Marvel bad guys, like you ask, like, name 5 Marvel bad guys. Yeah. Most people aren't going to say the High Evolutionary.
Oh, absolutely not.
So for a character like that, that's your opportunity. Well, people, the curiosity is there. Everybody that watched these movies had the curiosity of what happened to Rocket. Well, they explained that in this movie, and I believe they did a really good job. Yeah. And I mean, so we're bragging on this movie, guys. That's the point of this. Basically, is that we're bragging on this movie. It's hard to impress Gabe nowadays. He's at that age where, like, nothing's cool unless it really is cool, and then when it really is cool, he's only going to say, it's all right.
Okay.
And that's facts. All right, Cave Maniacs, the only thing left to tell you right now is about the Oklahoma City Pop Culture Con. That is June 24th and the 25th. The Oklahoma City Horror Con, that is August 5th and the 6th. And Cowtown Comic Con, that is September 30th and October 1st. And we're not just telling you about those things because we want you to go. We're telling you because we are going to be there. Do not forget about the Wednesday episode. That's where you can win all the cards at. I know you guys probably know that already, though. And don't forget about Thursday nights. Every Thursday, starting at 7 p.m. Central, we have Gabe's Cave After Dark with me, where I'm selling comic books, where the majority of them start at $1. Gabe's Cave got Tom. Bye.